My guest today is Breno. Breno is the founder and CEO of Boto. Boto is a no-code automation platform for creating and sharing bots that can be used to automate your crypto, NFT, DeFi, and other blockchain activities. Welcome to the show, Breno.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you for inviting me.
So to begin with, Breno, let's just do what we always do at the beginning of the show, which of course is invite you to introduce yourself. I'd love to hear a little bit about your personal background, who you are, what you've been up to in the lead up to founding Boto.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks. I'm originally from Brazil, so and I've been basically building things since a very young age. I love technology. I started coding. I was 12 years old. I literally had a computer next to my crib because of my parents' background, So I grew up with a computer next to my bed and got hooked into technology because of gaming, like probably many of us, and started building things very early on, build games, build websites, and from that, I went to study mechatronics and kept on that kind of journey. And in the blockchain space, I started my blockchain journey in 2016 and started Boto last year, basically to help other people to build automation and without having to know how to code.
Yeah, and just looking at your bio, I was interested to note. So yeah, you have an MBA and a BSc in Mechatronics Engineering, and I think you mentioned that. So that's just briefly, what does Mechatronics Engineering mean? That's a cool. Well, it sounds cool.
Yeah. So first, I mean, at that time, I wasn't sure what to do for college. Like I guess many young people, and I was okay. I already know how to code. I didn't want to go to computer engineering. I said, what is there out? What else can I learn? And I always wanted to have my own company. So I thought, like, the more I can learn, the better. I don't know what I'm going to be building in the future. And mechatronic was a mix of mechanics with electronics. So it's where you build robotics mostly. So all the automation where hardware meets automation, basically. And yeah, that's why I thought like, oh, this is super interesting. And also had the most amount of electives, so I could take classes in computer science and other areas of engineering. But yeah, it's a growing area. It was pretty new at the time, but now it's picking up quite a lot with autonomous cars and robots and pretty much also everything that Elon Musk touch involves that mechatronic.
Yeah, exactly right. And of course, the sci-fi science fiction genre is full of stories of, I suppose, mechatronics going wrong, going haywire. So
Yeah.
yes, indeed. And I see also that after that, Breno, you were head of revenue intelligence for Ripple. So is that Ripple as in the kind of the parent company for XRP?
Yes, that's correct.
So what were you doing? What were you doing for them? Head of revenue intelligence. What does that mean?
Yeah, so I worked for Ripple for 4 years. I did different roles there, and my last role was head of revenue intelligence. And basically means building the analytics behind the metrics that drive our revenue for the company. Not on the XRP crypto side of the business, more on the RippleNet, the B2B side of Ripple. So I was building the everything in terms of dashboards and analytics for the leadership in order to focus into revenue.
Nice, makes sense. All right, well, let's segue into Boto, Breno. So Boto, so you talk about on the website, you invite new users to join the bot democratization movement, And I think, as I mentioned, Boto is, you call it the no-code automation platform for creating and sharing bots that automate your crypto NFT and other blockchain or DeFi activities. So, I mean, I guess that's a good summary of what Boto is. So, before we go deeper into it, do you want to tell the origin story? I guess you must have had the skills and maybe identified some kind of gap in the market. How and when did you do that?
Yeah, it's a good question. Into 2020, so not long ago, the idea came along. Basically, with COVID, a lot of friends started getting more into retail investment and crypto space, and and everyone wanted to automate things, especially when you get into the crypto space. There's a lot going on, and it's very easy to get overwhelmed. So automation becomes kind of like an obvious choice if you want to stay up with what's going on. But everyone wants a slightly different logic, a slightly different, bot. And then really that's where the origin stories of Boto started, whereas, okay, I know how to code, but how can I enable people that don't know how to code to use their own logic, their own decision-making logic to build the automation that they would like. And when looking at the platforms out there, most of them are quite limited. And in the crypto space, it's very complex stuff. Most of the time, you need information from multiple platforms, from multiple data sources. So it needed to be something that could connect to multiple data sources and allow people to easily build their own logic in a flowchart visual way. So that's how it really started. And easily for me, very, very quickly became about people sharing the logic that they have also with each other, because none of the other automation platforms focus on that. They focus mostly on, okay, the platform provides the automation and you use it. And that's one of the things that for me is the biggest flaw or the biggest opportunity out there, because it doesn't matter how big the Boto team becomes, I cannot imagine that we will be always the most creative people coming up with the best ideas, right? So empowering people to use the tool and build their own things and share was critical. So yeah, that's how more or less it started.
Nice. And yeah, I mean, I appreciate that using a kind of a drag and drop interface makes it much more easier for people. So, but put that in context for us, Breno. Do you does that mean someone with no coding or developer experience can come along and figure out how to put the necessary bits and pieces together to effectively create a bot for whatever use case they're looking for?
Yeah. So, and I can also get more specific in some of the use cases, so the idea is exactly anyone can come to the platform, and I really encourage people to just come and play with the tool, because it's quite intuitive, and you can just drag and drop and the different blocks and connect them and build your logic and automate things without any need to know how to code. And so that's the first thing. But I also believe that like in any platform, you have part of the users are the creators, people who create new things, new ideas. So we have the concept of recipes as well. So if you want to set up a bot, but you don't necessarily want to create something different or new, you can just go and check one of our recipes. We have dozens of recipes already. And, we are working for next month to release the Botoverse, where people can share their own recipes. So a lot of our users started already sharing through print screen and in our Discord community. And so what we want now is to make that core of our product, of our platform. And so, yeah, if you want to come and play with the tool and build something new, great, please do that and share what you create with us. But if you also just want to check out what other people have created and use that, yeah, it's super easy. Yeah.
Okay, so talk us through some of the recipes. Let's hear some more examples of these then, Breno. So you got everything from Ethereum gas trackers to Reddit headline announcements to new OpenSea NFT sales, which can go to Discord. So yeah, please talk us through some of these recipes.
Sure. Our most popular recipes are around NFT. So most of our users are on the NFT space. Like you mentioned, we have gas feeds, we have DAOs, and we have Reddit, other news feeds. But just to take a couple of examples more on the NFT space, you can monitor whale accounts to see what they're buying, what they're selling, collections, or monitor specific collection for their floor price and listings. So whenever a listing comes that is lower than a specific price, you can get notified. And then you can start making a little bit more complex configurations, such as you can say, okay, I'm monitoring these collection Bored Ape Yacht Club, and I'm monitoring for a specific trait from them. So I can monitor a rare item. I only want to be notified if there is a rare item, if the ape is gold, has a coat and collar or something like that. And if the price is below X amount of Ether or dollars. That kind of really like tailored to your needs is the key. You go there and you can easily set that up and get that notification on Discord, like you mentioned, or Telegram, Slack, email. But we are also working now on new recipes, things that can act on your behalf. So for example, you in the future, not just getting notified, you can get the bot to update your offering on your listings on OpenSea if the floor price changed, right? So floor price is rising, you forgot to pay attention, you have a rare NFT and now it's below floor price, and someone just comes and buy it cheaply. So you might want to pay attention to that and just keep a bot to update with a percentage of the floor price, let's say, to keep your listings always within the price that makes sense. Or the other way around, you want to put a bot that will buy something if it comes cheaply, things like that. That's the next step for us.
Yeah, that makes sense, Breno. And so you talk about this community that you have. So I suppose you'd have a lot of different users. Some will just be using your kind of recipe existing bots. Some users, of course, will be creating their own more advanced bots. And what's I suppose the community ethos in terms of that sharing philosophy? Is it very much a knowledge sharing community? And I suppose secondly, if someone does make something that is particularly interesting and in demand, what's in it for them? Is there a path for them to monetize that as well?
Yeah, I know. Great questions. So we are just launching Botoverse next month, and the idea of this community allowing people to share their bots is basically allowing people to share logic in a way that is actionable, right? So you can copy someone's logic and just use that and benefit from something creative that someone else has built. And this ethos of sharing your logic is the key, because and seeing what else is out there, right? I see that a lot in the developer community. You have repositories like GitHub, but on the non-developer side, it's harder to find something like that. The way people share logic today is through blogs, podcasts, right? But imagine now I can share a piece of logic that you can just take that and use it, right? So this is really like the idea. And in terms of the incentives, the idea is for creators of bots that are popular to get a piece of the revenue of the company, the same way that traditional social platforms do, like YouTube, without the ads, because we are really against ads. So that's another thing I can talk about. But definitely sharing the revenue with the creators that are more popular is key. But then the next step for us is that the platform, the way it works is that it connects with multiple API providers, right? Data providers, different blockchains. Right now, we are the only ones building blocks to the platform that can do that, or a block that can calculate something, can calculate the rarity of an item or filter something. But in the future, we will also allow developers to build blocks to our platform. So even if there is something that we are not aware, in New Zealand, there is a local exchange or something that we at Boto don't know, and we haven't built an integration with it. Anyone that knows how to code and is familiar with that could just add that block and then take advantage of everything else that has already been built, the engine that runs the bots, the Discord connections, the everything else. And that person, that developer, they could charge for that block separately, like that they can. It's more of like a marketplace, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense, Breno. So, if talk to me then in terms of what is your roadmap for how to grow the community, and any metrics that you're happy to share in terms of your existing user base, and what that kind of user acquisition journey has looked like to date. Have you done much promo? You talked about not liking ads. You probably don't even like to advertise. No one does. But it's that kind of chicken and egg problem, right? It's fine to have a cool product, but you still need the users. How do you think about all this?
Yeah, it's tricky, just quickly comment on the ads. For me, biggest problem today is that a lot of companies end up building products around the ads, and they try to maximize ads, and then they lose focus on the users. So that was easy for us to say, okay, we are not going to sell user data for ads. But then at the same time, all the companies in Web3 that say, I'm not going to sell my user data, they keep paying for user data from Facebook ads, from Google ads. I'm like, okay, so you stop a minor ad thing here, but you're spending millions on ads. So at the end, it doesn't make sense, right? So in order to leave really the own your data ethos, we had to say no ads. We don't pay for ads. So and then it becomes a big challenge how you get your product out there, and it wasn't easy. We launched in August. I was a bit lucky with the NFT use case that we got traction. First month we had 26 users, so that was nothing. But today, fast forward 10 months more or less, we have now 6,000 users in the platform. We are over 4,000 Discord channels, and we have sent over 41 million notifications, alerts, and by every week we send about 2.5 million notifications. And we have now almost 3,000 active users. So yeah, it's been quite a journey in 10 months. We raised our seed round end of last year as well, $3.7 million. So, but the user acquisition has really been organic. I did a couple of posts in Medium. Some people found us, and when I asked them initially, they would say like, "Yeah, I spent 2 hours looking for something like this. I tried coding myself. I tried GitHub. I tried this. I tried that." And then I found you guys on a subreddit comment somewhere, and I was like, "Okay, great." And really, that's how it grew. And then from there, I mentioned we are in over 4,000 Discord servers. What ended up happening is that one of the features that I built for the platform that was not intended to be a distribution channel became our main distribution channel, which is I saw some of the other platforms, and I saw how they connect to Discord, and it required you to build your own Discord bot and then connect to the platform. And I thought that was already kind of like a barrier for people who are not developers. It can be intimidating just to do those steps, even if it requires no code. So I thought, okay, I need to use the Boto bot and make it very simple for people to use it. And that became our main distribution channel, because now people go to one of the NFT collections they like, and they see the Boto bot posting there all the time. And then they click on it and they see our website, and that's how they come and see us. So most of the majority of our distribution comes through people seeing our bot in use, which is great.
And so if we zoom out just a little bit, then Breno, like I'd love to get your perspective on, I suppose, how you see these kind of tools. Let me. What's the phrase you used on your website was. Join the bot democratization movement, yes. Right? So in that context, I suppose people that are using these kind of tools, whether it's in DeFi, certainly NFT trading, and just I guess the more different crypto things you have going on, the more challenging it becomes to manage, right? So bots are one part of the toolkit. How much of an edge do you think new people or maybe more sophisticated people that are utilizing bots? How much of an edge does it give them, do you think?
Yeah, you know, it can be a lifesaver. Like I had right at the beginning, one of the users avoided a big dip of the market because of a bot notified him, and he completely forgot. He wasn't paying attention to news and stuff, and the bot just messaged him, and he's like, "Oh, damn it! Like Bitcoin's down that much. Okay, let me pause my crypto things until things clear up." And he saved quite a bunch of money with that. Simple things, notification just based on his own criteria. He set it up and said, hey, if it goes down by this much, I want to know. So simple things like that can really make a difference. But when we talk about bots acting on your behalf, you can set up the criteria and say, look, if this happens, if Bitcoin goes down that much, if Elon Musk is talking bad about Bitcoin, and just sell everything I have and move back to something. And this can happen while you're asleep. And you will understand that very well with the time zone, right? Especially in the crypto space, it's 24/7. We are not talking about traditional retail investment anymore, where you say it's a bank holiday in the US, I don't have to worry about, markets are off, and people still worry, but there's nothing you can do. Now it's 24/7. It can really make a huge difference for you.
Yeah, I very much agree. Very well said, Breno. And so, just talk through the for people that are listening and they're interested. Where should they go? What should they do? What are the costs? Anything like that?
Yeah. So if you're interested, just go to boto.io. That's BOTO.io. Right now it's free. Go to and just click on try it, and it will continue to be free forever. There will always be a free tier, which will continue to have pretty much everything that is available today. We will add premium features. Some of them will be the action bots that we're talking about, Twitter bots that we haven't introduced yet because of that. The premium features are going to come in July, so Q3. Come, I really invite you to play. You can create as many bots as you want. There's no limits of how many bots you can have. Just be creative. And as Botoverse coming next month, please share your creations. In the meantime, share with us in Discord, what you created. And that's what I would like to invite people to do.
And what do you think is the kind of the I guess the narrative around, let's just say, bots in crypto at the moment, Breno? Because there were, for a while, I think there were, there's various bad actors that have created either just dodgy bots that don't work as they should, or just outright scammy bots. And for a while, I guess it's just, well, that's just crypto. There are bad actors everywhere, right? But how would you characterize that at the moment?
Yeah, it's a great point, because that's part of what drove the name of the company and the logo being friendly. I really wanted to first address the bot part of the question, because and is right at the name, but I wanted to make it friendly, accessible, a name and logo, because there are a lot of bad connections to bot today, and you don't see that only in Web3. I mean, you look at the Twitter acquisition and you see how much the fake users, the bot users, are being like discussed, and how much Elon Musk talks bad about that. So bots get a lot of the bad press and bad, but there's a lot of good about automation in general, right? And bots it's like bots in itself, they're not bad. Like humans can use any tool for bad and for good, right? So we wanted to address that part of the name and the logo. I think today it still exists both, and will always exist both. And one of the discussions we have often in the company is how do we address that with the community growing, and given that bots will be built by the community, what if someone creates a bot that is really popular but is long-term not sustainable and damaging to the overall crypto environment, right? A bot that does something that will harm people or something else. How do we disincentivize that from happening? It's really hard. Again, if you democratize, if you allow people to do whatever they want, there will be people doing good stuff and there will be people doing bad stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that is it's just the way of the world, isn't it, Breno? All right, well, I think that's a nice place to pause. Let's go to a very quick break, and then we'll come back. We'll finish off. We'll have some fun. We'll run Breno through the very famous crypto conversation hot take round. All right. Well, team, we are back. And look, if you're watching this on YouTube, we've been here all along. Of course, I'm with Breno. He is the CEO and founder of Boto, which makes it easier for, I suppose, non-coders to take advantage of the power and utility and potential of bots, and just join the community with a kind of the no-code automation drag and drop platform. Sounds very useful indeed. But Breno, I like to finish each podcast with a quick round of rapid fire crypto conversation hot takes. Are you up for it?
Yeah, okay.
All right, just going to run some quick questions by you, Breno. Just get quick, snappy answers, hot take style is the way this rolls. The first question is, Breno, where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
I ask that self my question every day. I would say I'm pretty much maximalist on the original idea of it, but I must admit I'm not a big fan of proof of work nor proof of stake. So I debate that with myself every day. I love Bitcoin and the original white paper and idea, but I still struggle with proof of work and proof of stake. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's how I feel about it.
I think it does. That's, I mean, all I want is your honest opinion. So do you mean you struggle with both proof of work and proof of stake?
Yeah, I don't think either of those consensus mechanisms are sustainable in the long term. I don't think any of us would choose that as the as a tool, if we were, imagine if our countries were ruled by the industry or ruled by who has more money in terms of voting. I don't think it's a place that in the long term works. It's less democratic, I would say. So that's my problem with the inherent incentives for centralization and lower democracy, kind of. Not to say that democracy is perfect, but so far it has paid off better than the other models in the past.
That is exactly right. All right. Well, Breno, Bill Gates famously said that we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. So, with that in mind, anything you like here, blockchain, Web3, DeFi, proof of stake, proof of work, or the bot democratization movement. But what does it all look like in 10 years' time?
Yeah, it's a great quote, because I do think it happens with every new technology. We completely overestimate what it can be done in the short term, and then we get frustrated that it hasn't done enough, and then in the long term we always get surprised with what can be done. I think 10 years can still be short term, to be honest. Like, might not even be enough, but I think, like, the way I like to look at it, especially with the bot side of things, is that in 10 years I hope we will save a lot of time from humanity to do things that are more important. And when I say that, is that we spend a lot of time doing things that don't evolve humanity. For me, for humanity to evolve, we need to create things. There's no evolution without creation, without innovation. So when we do tasks that are not creating, we don't have enough time on our own to create, we're not doing that. So today, if you look at, there's a research showing that we spend 5 years of our lives just doing admin work. If bots can do a lot of the work we do, be admin, be checking things online, if we can save 1, 2, 3 years of each human's life to be spent doing more creative work, I think that's where I see things going.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to argue with that. And I guess the logical, if you take that argument to the extreme, the Elon Musk argument, Breno, the idea that eventually through, let's say, AI and well, mechatronics really,
Yeah.
that will free up humanity from doing potentially a lot of the kind of the drudge work, or everything from, driving taxis or Ubers to even accounting and legal work and flipping burgers. Everything is going to get automated on a long enough time frame. So if that is the case, one of the questions I used to ask is, UBI, Breno, as a kind of potential fix to AI-induced automation, and even perhaps to a kind of future dystopian world of wealth inequality. But UBI, good idea or bad idea?
Sorry, I'm not familiar with the with the term UBI.
Universal basic income.
Okay. Yes. Oh, great question. I love the idea actually. I love the idea. I talked about that with. I was thinking about that because I think the problem is doing that discriminatorily, like meaning if you don't have a job, you have a basic income. I think if we do that, it needs to be universal, because then there's no incentive for someone to not work or be, to exist. Definitely a good idea in the long term. I think we will need that eventually, but I don't think it's going to be in 10 years. You mentioned about the underestimating the short-term technology. I was watching a video about in the 60s, asking kids what computer, and they were worried that they wouldn't have jobs, and that is in 1960. And we've been thinking about automation taking over everything since then, or even before that. Since we started doing tools, industrialization, we have always talked about, technology replacing humans everywhere and not having jobs. I think we keep going that direction. It's inevitable. So UBI is definitely a must, in my opinion, and I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, very interesting thoughts, Breno, and I agree with you. I think UBI is probably inevitable, but it's a much longer timeline. And I agree with you as well that everyone has been saying since, as you say, the 60s or before, that technology will automate everyone's jobs away. But, somehow technology at the same time, the argument against that is that due to technology, we keep creating new jobs. And the things that you and I are doing today, Breno, are a perfect example of that. The crypto podcaster title that did not exist until 10 years ago. No one would know what you meant if you said crypto podcaster, and no one would know what you were talking about if you said you would create a company to automate NFT and DeFi alerts and transactions. So yeah, anyway, the flip side of that, of course, Breno, is another quote you'll be aware of by William Gibson, who famously said that the future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed. With that in mind, Breno, can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people just aren't really aware of it?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many examples, right? But you can talk about the high end of AI, which few people have access, few people build, other people are not aware, but are being influenced by it, right? Impacted by it. Part of what we want to do in terms of democratizing automation is being back to people to choose how they want automation. But you're going to watch a movie and you get impacted to, you get influenced by what you're going to watch because of someone else built somehow a machine learning to tell you. I think this is one example, but it goes from everything from the automation. Even if you talk about electric cars, not everyone has it, right? And it's the future, clearly. Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. All right, time to zoom out for a second, Breno, as we start to finish off. What do you see as the long-term future for the human race? Do you see dystopia or utopia?
Yeah, I don't have the answer.
That's all right.
I don't know. I don't know.
No, I don't know.
You might end up with both. Who knows?
Yeah,
if it's possible.
Always, yeah.
We will always find a way to it's difficult. Human race, I think we always find a way to get both in a way or another.
And well, finally then, Breno, what is your favorite science fiction book, a film, or TV show?
It's good. I think you know, I love Blade Runner. I think in general, I love, you know, a little bit of like cyberpunk, like a future. We evolve at the same time we don't, you know, kind of like which we have always found a way to do. My grandfather used to say that, you know, he used to mention about Brazil, where I'm from, that we grow, Brazil keeps growing since I got here, but keeps growing like the horse's tail keeps going down. It's an analogy, but you know, sometimes we grow, but at the same time we devolve as we grow. So yeah.
Yeah, that is the promise and the curse of human nature, I think. But very well said, Breno. Hey, this has been fun. I've enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for coming on the show today. Nothing else to say really, except hand the metaphorical microphone back to you. Please tell the people where they can go to find you, wherever you like to hang out on the internet. If you're on Twitter, shout it out, and tell people where they can go to find out more about what you and the Boto community are building, and how they can get involved if they want to join the bot democratization movement.
Yeah, I think our website is a good place to start. So boto.io, bot.io. My Twitter as well. It's Brenoca. So ITSBRENOCA. And our YouTube channel. We starting to post more and more there. The Boto YouTube channel. That's where you're going to learn about the latest things and get a little bit of tutorials and other things. And I wanted to thank you, Andy. I really enjoyed the conversation. This was really, really fun. And yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Hey, thank you very much, Breno. All the best, and bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, there you go. That was Breno from Boto. I really enjoyed talking to Breno. Super nice guy. What him and the community are building at Boto does look, really cool. Actually, I've had a little look through the website. There's a lot of different resources there, and you know, as he said, the first tier is free. So look, if that's you, I encourage you to go and check them out. They're at boto.io with the little friendly robot logo. So yeah, hey, looks super cool. All right, well, hey, that is today's show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to the Crypto Conversation in whatever podcast app you are using, or even here on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a subscribe. But that is today's show. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin. See ya.